Thank you for joining me. On today's episode of Bible Blueprint of the New Testament, we are looking at First Corinthians. Now, the book of First Corinthians is seventh in order in the New Testament. There are 16 chapters in the book, and the type of book it is epistle or Pauline. An overview on the book of First Corinthians. This epistle was written from Paul to the Corinthians. He had previously spent 18 months with the Corinthian Christians, and they had been doing well at the time of his departure. After hearing of quarrelings and disagreement in the church, a disappointed Paul wrote to Corinth during his third missionary journey to correct the divisions and promote unity. Paul used the letter to present a model for how the church should handle the problem of sin amongst the members. Now, the book of First Corinthians was written around 55 AD. Time period covered all eras in the age of grace, and the author is the Apostle Paul. Now, there are three sections to the book of First Corinthians. Number one, quarrels and resolutions. We see this in chapters 1 through 4. Paul speaks of the current quarrels of the church and offers advice. He likens their quarrels to arrogance and immaturity and encourages them to grow in humility and strength. Section 2, advice on eliminating the sins of this church. We see this in chapters 5 through 11. Paul exposes sin already infesting the church, which includes sexual immorality, passing judgment on non-believers, filing lawsuits against others, and food and head and coverings. Section 3, explaining the spiritual gifts. We see this in chapters 12 through 16. Paul helps the church understand difficult doctrines such as speaking in tongues. He explains that love is the greatest gift of all and should be sought after above all else. He also gives a brief recounting of Jesus Christ and the importance of his ministry. Well, that brings us to the end of our overview on the book of First Corinthians. That's all for now. God bless.